Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Mariam Al-Jouan from Kuwait Foundation for the Advancement of Sciences. I'll be responsible for hosting this presentation today, and I am glad to welcome Mr. Wael Mansour, who will present Scopus Author Profiles. Mr. Wael Mansour is a senior research consultant at Elsevier, and he's responsible for the Middle East region. He has more than 20 years' experience in the education and research field. In this session, you will learn valuable tools for mastering your Scopus Author Profile. By taking advantage of these tools, you can increase your visibility and showcase your scholarly impact. Whether you're just starting out in your career or looking to enhance your reputation, this webinar is a must-attend event. It's important to note that this webinar will be recorded, so you can revisit the content at any time and continue to benefit from the insight and knowledge shared during the session. We will also take questions throughout the webinar, so please feel free to type them in the chat box. I want to thank our speaker for taking the time to share their knowledge. So now, please welcome Mr. Wael Mansour. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mariam, and I hope you're able to hear me clearly. Thanks a lot for this introduction, and I would like to thank you, thank KIFAS, of course, for preparing and organizing this session. I would like to also thank everybody to attend this session. Let me start by sharing my screen. I'm going to start with you with a PowerPoint presentation. Of course, we are focusing today on the author profiles in Scopus, and then we will have a practical part, smaller a little bit, and then move to the question as Ms. Mariam mentioned. Ms. Mariam, can you confirm that you can hear me clearly and also you can see my screen?
Yes, I can hear you and I can see your screen.
Great. Thank you. So I'd like to thank you very much again, everyone here. And without further ado, let us start the Scopus author profiles and how they are important for you as a researcher and how can you work on them to make sure they are 100% correct. And this would be our agenda today. I'll give you a quick introduction about Scopus and the latest numbers because it keeps updated every month. So I'll give you about the latest number of publications and so on. And then we will have an introduction to Scopus author profiles. How is it powerful in Scopus? And then also how you can edit them and make sure they are 100% correct. And then you will have actually some tutorials available and some links, which I'm going to share the presentation with KIFAS. So maybe most of you, you know Scopus and you're already using Scopus, but maybe a small group doesn't know that. So let me give a quick idea. Scopus uniquely combines a comprehensive curated abstract and citation database, which is enriched data and linked scholarly content. We do mean it's first of all, it is a curated abstract and citation database because the journals are selected, journals, conferences, and books selected by an independent committee which is responsible for selecting the journals and re-evaluating them to make sure it is actually curated content for you. It is comprehensive because it covers all the different subject areas. I'm going to talk about that as well. And it's enriched, we're talking about enriched data because it has a lot of metrics on different levels. So we have metrics on the article level. We have metrics on the author level, which we will focus on today. And we have metrics also on the journal level. Of course, Scopus can help you with different things. If you would like to conduct research, that is the first place you start with because you have now 91 million publications in Scopus, and this content is coming from 7,000 publishers. So Elsevier is just one of these publishers, and we have around 28,000 active journals in addition to the books and conferences. We have more than 94,000 affiliation profiles and 17 million author profiles, which is your profile is one of them. And this is what we're going to focus on today. We are updating actually Scopus every day in terms of the articles, especially the area of articles. We are adding 13,000 new articles per day to Scopus. You imagine how huge is the database. We have more than 6,000 active open access journals also. You have a direct access to the full text of these journals from the article record directly. And you can see on the left side, in terms of journals, we are covering all the different subject areas, even social sciences and humanities. We have a large number. Maybe it's number 2 in terms of just less few journals, less than health science. The conferences are maybe focusing more on engineering and computer science, but also there are other conferences on the different subject areas. In terms of books, we focus more on social sciences and arts and humanities, about 50%, and the other 50% for the rest of the subjects. And we do that because conferences, researchers in engineering and computer science, and if you are a researcher in this area, you will know that you publish more as conferences. The researchers in social sciences and arts and humanities, they publish more as books. So that's why the focus in conferences and books. And we have also patent data, which is linked to the affiliation. So when we say affiliation, like KFAS or Kuwait University and so on. Okay, so that was an introduction about Scopus. What are the Scopus author profiles? So this is a Scopus author profile. I'm not sure if you all have seen it before, or you have seen the new interface, because this has been updated. So that is the author profile in Scopus. You can see the name here. This is the current affiliation, because you can have multiple affiliations, of course. The country, and then this is a unique number for each researcher. That is the Scopus author ID. We'll talk about the Orchid later, and then there are other important things like edit profiles, set alerts, save lists, and potential author matches as well. And then, and again, we'll come back to this because this is very important. And then we have the matrix for the author. You have the documents and citation trends in this graph, and also on the left side, you have the values. So this author has 90 publications in Scopus across all the different affiliations, which is he or she did work for, and then the number of citations and the H index for the researchers. Also, there are more important information, and this is dynamic. It's according to what the researcher has. So these are the list of documents, the citations, the co-authors, topics. There are other actually areas which will appear with other examples. But that's just a quick introduction to the author profiles. If you can see here that says show all author information, this is with the new interface for the author profiles. If you click on it, then you will have a menu on the right side, which has all the different affiliations for this researcher. He or she did work before the current affiliation. I guess this, in my opinion, this is the most important slide in this presentation. So if you would like to focus with me on this one, because this actually explains the whole concept. So here we do have the researcher. This is you. So what do you want? You want to get hired. You want to get some resources, and you want to show that you are a top researcher as well. And then what are the needs from the university or from your society and so on. So people need to read your article. People need to cite your article. Collaborators must find you. People need to know how many papers I put out and citation I received, right? And then you can see here there are two colors for the relation. There's the orange one and the purple one, or the blue one. So you can see different relation. The orange one is the evaluation, which is, let's say, happening from your university to you. And the purple or the blue one, it is showcasing. So this is what you want to show as a researcher. So you can see here there are two directions between your institution and you as a researcher. So of course, you want to showcase your research how good you are doing your research, your metrics, and so on. So that is important. But from the affiliation point of view, first of all, before joining that institution, they will ask themselves, should I hire this person? So they're looking at your author profile. How does this researcher compare with others? Should we promote this person? So in the promotion and tenure in universities, of course, they depend also on your author profile, and should this group leader have more funding? So these are questions which is coming from the institution, which is related to the evaluate part, coming from your institution, you as a researcher. The other type of institution, which is funders. Funders also looking at your profile to see if should they give you the grant. So they have a grant in a certain topic or a subject, and they definitely have different researchers applying for that. So which one to give? It depends on your author profile. In the same time, you are willing to have that grant for your project or for your research. So it is very important that you have your author profile updated and 100% correct. Also, other researchers, it's a dual relation as well. It's evaluation from their side and evaluation from your side to them, and also showcasing. You want to showcase the other researchers in the field that you are doing this research. So the other people in the same field which would like to collaborate with you, they will see this research and then decide to collaborate with you. So that's actually the relationship between the researcher and different type of entities. It could be an institution, research institution, university, and so on, or some institution like funder, like KFAS, or other researchers. So we have different types of entities here in this slide, and I think it's important slide. Why we are saying it is very strong. First of all, the author profiles in Scopus is created automatically, so you don't have to do anything. It's automatically once you publish your first article in a journal which is indexed in Scopus, automatically Scopus will create this profile for you. And you have, as we discussed before, you have around 28,000 journals, active journals. This is not all the journals. These are the journals which is active. The number of journals are more than that in Scopus. You have the books, you have actually the conferences, and so on. So once you publish your first article in a journal indexed in Scopus, automatically Scopus will create for you the profile. We talked in the beginning about the Independent Content Selection Advisory Board, or the committee which is independent from Elsevier, responsible for selecting the journals, and that's part of the power of Scopus. We have created this independent committee. They are actually 17 researchers from different subjects. They have a long experience in research and journals, editing, and so on. And each person responsible for subject, and if any journal is submitting, or let's say university submitting a journal to be indexed in Scopus, it goes to this committee, and they are responsible for evaluating the journal to be accepted or not in Scopus. And the evaluation doesn't happen one time, actually. After some time, if there is any indicators showing that the journal level or the journal quality is not as before, then it goes to the Independent Content Selection Advisory Board, or the CSAB, to re-evaluate the journal, and they may take a decision to discontinue the journal. That's why you have a high quality, or trying to provide you with the highest quality in Scopus content. Another important thing is this integration technology, which is, according to all the data sources and publications, journals, and so on. On top of that, we are using the natural language processing and using actually state-of-the-art algorithm to disintegrate the names. We know that the names could be very similar, but we have an algorithm which is it's possible to be able to differentiate between the same, if two people has the same name exactly, but there are the algorithm has many points to check and see if and differentiate between the people according to subject, according to email address, according to affiliation. There are a long list which is the algorithm go for to make sure that this article belong to this researcher and automatically add it. And all starts bottom up from the document. So let's say we have a researcher here, and this researcher has published these 5 publications. So once he or she published the first publication, automatically the profile for this researcher will be created. And in the same time, or let's say this one. So if he or she published the first article with this institution, so let's say we're assuming this researcher is working for Kuwait University and published his first or her first article, automatically Scopus will create the author profile for the researcher and link that document to Kuwait University. So as a researcher, when I add the second one, automatically it will be added to the profile. Scopus will check the affiliation information. Okay, this one is not related to Kuwait University, so I'm going to add it to another institution here, which is separate from Kuwait University. The third article, again, the algorithm will check the name of the author first, then it will be linked to this author, and then the affiliation name. Yeah, it's Kuwait University, so it's linked to Kuwait University. So we can see here that the researcher will be linked to his or her publications and connected to the affiliation. Of course, the affiliation will have much more publications, which is related to other researchers as well. So that's the idea, how we build the Scopus author profiles. It's fully automatic. We talked about this integration, and you can see here that the similar name here in maybe in the West more as a common name, which is Dr. Smith. There are 3 people, Smith, so Dr. Smith, J. Smith, John Smith, and John A. Smith. They are, as you can see from the drawing, which we were trying to show that they are different people. How can the algorithm differentiate between them? The algorithm can differentiate according to the points which I mentioned to you before. It's a long list, which is the algorithm go through automatically. First of all, the name, and then the affiliation, the subject, email address, and so on. There's a lot of parameters which is the algorithm work and successful to be able to distinguish between the names. And in our region, we have a lot of Muhammad, Ahmad, Mahmoud names, and also there are a lot of family names, which is very similar. So this algorithm is doing a great job into this case. This is actually an example for a research. A search has been done for different authors, and you can see Bernard, Oliver. It means actually for maybe the Western world, we can do, if we do the same for our names like Muhammad and Ahmad and Mahmoud, we will see actually similar results, I guess. So you can see here Bernard, Oliver, 30 results. The second one, Williams A, you have 6,000 results, and another Chen from maybe China, you have 25,000 results, and still the algorithm will be able to differentiate between these. Okay, so as I talked, actually, it starts with the author, Scopus author identifier by the algorithm. That is the first step, which is because it's a software, so it's 97% accuracy. Still, there is a 3% because, again, it's a software, and I had an example I just mentioned a couple of days back. 2 researchers, one of them is, let's say, I'm not giving, of course, the exact names, but one of them is, let's say, Abdullah Muhammad, and the other one is Ahmad Muhammad. And both of them are actually putting their initial letters for the first name. So it will be A. Muhammad and A. Muhammad. And both of them were from the same university, same department. They were faculty of engineering, same department of electrical engineering. So in this case, this could be a difficult thing, especially if there is no email address, for example. It will be a difficult thing for the algorithm. That's why for the remaining 3%, we kept also the author feedback wizard, which is an editor for you as a researcher to visit your profile from time to time to make sure it is 100% correct. So the algorithm will create it for you from the beginning, keep adding the articles and linking it to the right affiliation, but still you need to have a look from time to time to make sure it's 100% correct. So these are the different curation operation you can do, which is the algorithm, number one. Number two is the author feedback wizard or the editor. Connect your profile to Orchid. We'll talk about that. And we have other services like the pure profile refinement services, which is a manual process to make sure that the profiles are correct. There are many organizations using Scopus to take decisions worldwide, and you can see there are a lot of very prestigious organizations depending on Scopus worldwide. The redesign profile. So for the people who is using Scopus from some time, they will recognize this screen. That was the old author profile page. And we decided to redesign it actually and come up with this new design to be more compact assessment view, easier to edit, and it's faster to access. Again, you can see here, we have seen the first part, of course, we talked about it, but addition in that, the number of documents, which is the researcher have, the number of citations, number of co-authors, so people you have collaborated with, and topics. Topics is actually coming from another tool, which is called Cyber. This is topic prominence. These are the topic which is having momentum worldwide. It's a smaller topics under your main subject. So if your subject, let's say in electrical engineering, then you would have topics about circuits and so on and so on, smaller topics. If you are in medicine, then under medicine, you will have COVID-19 and so on. And topics will show you the topics which have momentum worldwide. That can help you actually to direct your research and the university research to the topics which is having momentum worldwide to have more visibility. And also if you plan to apply for fund, then there is a research says you're likely to get more fund if you're applying for one of these top topics. Other things which is important has been added. It was not showing in the previous screen, the preprints. So we have added also the preprints, which will allow you actually to find collaborators with at cutting edge, something very new. It's still not published fully. And you can see the preprints for this researcher, and then you can actually collaborate with this researcher. Another important thing, I'm not sure it's showing here. No, it's not showing. It's another actually category which should show here, and again it's dynamic according to the researcher. The grants. So when you click on the awarded grants here, on the researcher profile, you can see what are the grants which has been given to this researcher. That gives you an idea also about for yourself, the grants you got, and also for someone else, if you are looking to collaborate with, you can see that researcher is able to get grants. Right now, it's maybe focused on the grants which is coming from the US, and we are expanding, working on expanding that. This is very new features. So this is the latest one, which is the awarded grants. The previous one was preprints. The rest was from the previous interface or the old design. Okay, how can, as we authors, make sure that our profiles are actually correct 100%? First of all, how to reach your profile from the author. I will show you. I'll try to show you this actually quickly also from Scopus Live. But from the search screen, you have different types of searches. One of them is an author search. So if you type your last name, first name, then you would be able to retrieve your profile. And also if you do a document search, you can see the authors here. And in the filters on the left side, also the author names, which you can click on and then go to the profile. And again, that's an example for an author profile. We actually talked about most of the things, but the remaining part, which is very important, is this part. Number one is editing the profile, and number two is potential author matches, which we will talk about that. So that's the name, connect to Orchid, your affiliation, and you can show more information as well. The second part, which is I just mentioned about the edit, alerts, author matches, and export to Cyber, and your documents, your citations, co-authors, and topics. An important part, which is Orchid. For the people who are not familiar with Orchid, Orchid is the Open Researcher and Contribution ID. It's a non-profit organization. It's not related to Elsevier. It's a non-profit organization separately from Elsevier. And you can actually access their website and create your own profile, which will give you a number, a unique number worldwide as a researcher. And this will help you to publish in any journal. And any database, not only Scopus, any database, and will make sure that your name will not be mixed with any other name. So we talked about John Smith or Muhammad Ahmad or whatever. In this case, if you have an Orchid ID, it's like the ISBN or the ISSN for the journals and books. So it's a unique number, and then your name, you sure 100% that it will not be mixed with someone else. If you connect your profile in Scopus to Orchid, then Scopus can update your Orchid profile. And it's very simple. You will see it in your profile next to the Scopus Author ID, connect to Orchid. When you see this, means your profile is not connected yet. What you just need is, first of all, of course, you need to create a profile in Orchid and then come to Scopus, click connect to Orchid, and it's step by step. You will be able to link. It's very simple. Process to link your author profile in Scopus to Orchid. If you would like to do an author analysis, of course, you have the H-index, you have the counts as an author profile to see your actually strong areas and strong points for your profile. And here is the H-index, and you have the H-index graph in a small text here. If you click on it, you get a graph which explains your actually H-index. Another text which is maybe many people don't realize, which is analyze author output. We know about the analysis for the research output, which we do on the main screen of Scopus when you do a search for documents. But also there is an analyze author output here, and there's also a citation overview track. And you can export it to Cyber. For the institution who have Cyber, you can send your author profile or any other author profile to Cyber and do the analysis for this. So that's the H-index graph. It shows how this person got this number as an H-index, which is 38, as you can see. That's the analyze author output. This is an example. This is a citation overview tracker, very similar to the research output track citation tracker. If you have seen that, which you can exclude also self-citation, you can exclude citations from books as well. If you remember in the beginning, I mentioned to you about show more. So you can see here on the left side that show more here. If you click on it, then it will open a new menu on the right side of the record, and it will show all the affiliation history for the person. Right now, he's in Harvard University. Before that, he was in Cambridge, Faculty of Mathematics, Cambridge, the University of Arizona. And so you can see the full history of the researcher and all the publications related to the researcher in Scopus. And then back to the topics, actually, to give more details. So this is the topics which we talked about, the topic prominence or the topic of momentum. You can see your topics on, you can see your documents under each topic. So you can know more about the publications which is contributing to a certain topic. And this will be very helpful for collaboration. So again, if I'm looking at someone's profile, and I'm interested to collaborate with someone in, let's say, COVID-19, then it's very easy to see the people and see the publications he or she published as well. Another feature which could be useful for yourself or for someone else you are following is to set an alert So any new document added, you will have an alert. Any new citations, so any article gets a citation, you will get an alert. And once you click on it, then you put the name here and your email address, and then frequency, and then set the document alert, which you will receive by email. You can also create lists of authors. So when you do a search, you can save to author list, save it to list, again, save it to list from different screens. But to do that, it's very important that you have to log in to Scopus. You know, you can use Scopus without login. You can get, like, since your affiliation has subscription to Scopus, so it looks to the IP address and then give you the access to the information. So you get like around 80% of the features of Scopus. But if you log into Scopus, which is very simple, you just need to put your email address and password. And if you have any other access to any Elsevier product, you can use that login as well. It's the same. And you will see your initial in the beginning, and then here's the name, email address, and then this is the saved lists, alerts, dashboard also. This dashboard, if you are sending any request to the support, and I will show you how to do that, then you are actually having this information on the dashboard, what has been answered, what is actually still waiting, and so on. So you have a clear view about the requests which you have sent to the support. Okay, so coming to the Scopus Author Feedback Wizard, which we have seen. It's let me show you here. So this one, Edit Profile. If you click on it, then you have this screen on the right side. It starts with asking you, is this your preferred name? And there's a pull-down menu here. You can select any of your preferred name. These names are coming from your articles, of course. So maybe here there's Smith George, George D. Maybe he has the full name. So you prefer the full name instead of D dot, or maybe initials for his first name as well. So it's up to you to select the right one. And here is the affiliation. Automatically Scopus will change the affiliation. So if you're moving from an institution to an institution, and then you publish the first article with the new institution, then Scopus automatically will do that. But what will happen if your first article at Kuwait University, for example, you are adding 2 affiliations, which is possible. You can have Kuwait University and your previous institution as well. In this case, Scopus will not change the previous affiliation because it can still see it. So we are giving you the option here to edit that, although in the normal case, it will happen automatically. You have also the list of documents, so you can remove any one of them. It's not related to you, or you can search for one which is missing. The same thing for preprints and the awarded grants. Here is more information, and I think you will get a copy of that. So there's more links and more information for you. So let me, I'm actually done with the presentation. I would like to show you this actually in Scopus quickly. So first of all, you have the search facility. You have the document, author, and affiliation search. You have the sources page, which you can see all the journals, which is indexed in Scopus to select from, and maybe we can have a session later about how to select the right journal for you in Scopus using the different quartiles and so on. Third area is the help and support. So you have the support center, which is you can send question or contact us, send the questions to the support. This is the first line of support of Scopus, which you can send them questions. Some of the questions can be answered by chat, which is very easy and very quick. Tutorial is actually the text help plus videos. So for example, how can I edit my author profile? There's a video for that, which is short. You can go through it and then you can edit your profile. So these are the 3 main areas, important areas in Scopus. So for author search, you just need to put your last name, first name, and then you will be able to retrieve your affiliation, but your author profile, but because I don't have now a name. I went to Kuwait University as an example, and then I will select a researcher from there. So I did search for an affiliation, Kuwait University, and then I will click on authors. And then randomly, I will select the first researcher. So this is what we have seen in the PowerPoint. You can see the name of the researcher, the current institution, the address, and here is the Scopus ID. This profile is not connected to Orchid yet. You can see the number of citations, number of documents, and each index, and you can see the H graph as well, the H index graph. Here for setting alerts, saving lists, edit profile, and you have more here. You have more here, which is potential author matches and export to site. Before coming to that, I will show you that view more. You can see the other names, which we talked about, and the different affiliation the researcher worked for, the subject area as well. And on the right side here, you can see on the right side of the graph, you can see the topics we talked about. Also here, the number of documents cited by number. So these are the citations. The researcher here has one preprint, you can see. And these are the co-authors. These are the topic of prominence, which is the granular topics under the subject. And also, actually, there is one awarded grant. It's from some time back, but still it is showing in Scopus under the author profile. So that's actually a live quick demo for the author profile. But the most important two things I would like to show you is edit profile. Of course, we are not going to change anything in the profile. So first of all, it's asking you, is this your profile, or no, it's not my profile? And if you're doing the editing yourself, it will be faster to happen. So any change you do here, it will go to the support. The support will validate it and then do the change. So you can see here, this is the current name which is used. If I would like to change my preferred name, here is the different lists or different names which is coming from my articles. I can select my preferred name. This is the current affiliation of the researcher according to the latest paper. But in case of something happen, as I mentioned, the scenario which I mentioned, you can actually select that. But if you have moved to a new institution and you have not published one article at least, then you cannot have your affiliation. So someone moved from Kuwait University to King Saud University without publishing yet, then the new affiliation will not appear. Then we have the documents here. You can see this is the list of documents. If oh no, this is actually added by mistake to my profile. I just click on remove from profile from here. And then we can go to the last page, which 51 pages is, and mashallah, this researcher has more than 500 publications. But also you can search for missing documents. So the article is in Scopus, but not linked to your profile for some reason. You can search here for that and you can retrieve it. The other important thing is that if I go to more here and the potential author matches. So remember when I talked to you about the algorithm, which is doing a lot, and the example which I mentioned to you from the university in the region for Abdullah, Muhammad, and Ahmad Muhammad, both of them first names start with A. So that's why we are provided that editor automatically Scopus will search for similar names. But you can see here, let's go back to our researcher and see the main subjects. So it is medicine, pharmacology, toxicology. It's mainly in medicine. Okay, let me go back to potential author match. So maybe the first one is actually related to the same author. Of course, it's important that the researcher himself check that, because he or she will know the article is belong to them or not. But this looks medicine, okay. But for example, this is mathematics, computer science. I don't think it's related. If it is related, what you need to do is just click here in that box or tick in the box, and then this will be enabled and your request to merge with author. It will go to the support, and the support team will validate and then implement any change. So this is what I wanted to share with you, and I think we wanted to give more time for questions. So, Ms. Mariam, I think let's start with questions right now.
Thank you, Mr. Wael. Thank you for your taking the time to speak at our webinar. This is a really amazing presentation, well detailed. Yeah, we're going to move to the Q&A sessions. We invite everyone to type their questions in the Q&A section, where you can find it on the top of the window. And the first question is, let's see it. Is there an option for from my profile that recommends the journals that suits my paper, or finding journals?
Is there what's the second word? I didn't hear that. Is there an okay, I can see it here. Is there an option from my profile that recommends the journal that suit my paper?
Yes.
Okay. No, that's not available yet. I mean, it needs, still we need your knowledge and your experience, of course, to go to the sources, which I mentioned that you need to go to the sources, search by subject, search also by quartile. So which quartile you would like to publish at, first quartile, second quartile, fourth quartile. It depends on the experience of the researcher. And then there's a tool there to compare between the different journals. And I'd be happy to have a session about that later.
Okay, the second question is, do you provide an AI template with all formats, for example, APA?
Okay, that's actually, you need to, Dr. Nora, you need to use a reference manager. If you wanna, if I understood your question properly, you wanna export the references in a certain format like APA, for example. Then you need to use a reference manager like Mendeley, for example, which is free of charge from Elsevier. Just download it, and it will be. You can have two different versions. One is a desktop version, and one is the browser version. And also, you can add it to your word processor, like Microsoft Word, which will help you a lot in exporting this information.
Okay, the other question. Can I know the ranking of publications in Scopus?
The ranking of the publications. I think the question is not very clear. If you mean the ranking of the journals, then there are different quartiles in Scopus. It depends on the journal plans which quartile. You can know that from the sources page. In the publication, there is no ranking. There is actually matrix. So you have the number of citations, you have the field weighted citation, impact, and percentile, and so
on. Okay, we have another question. Is there an option for from my profile that we did this question actually? This question is how to combine two author accounts.
Yeah, that's what we have seen the last part, Dr. Noura, which is potential author matches. So when you go to your author profile and you think you have another profile and you want to merge both, go to potential author profile. And then if it does not appear for some reason in that list, then you need to send an email to the support from within Scopus.
Okay, the other question, how to find missing documents in my profile?
Again, that was in the last step also. If you edit your profile, then you can actually search for missing articles. And assuming that article is in Scopus, but not linked to your profile. If it is missing in Scopus totally, and you're sure it has been published already, available, and available on the website of the journal, and also the journal is still indexed in Scopus. So the best thing to do is to send the PDF of the article itself to the Scopus support from the area of support which I showed you.
Thank you. We have another question from Anwar. Is there a way to recommend authors with the same topics?
Yes, I mean, if you search by subject, you will get publications, and these from those publications also on the same page, you will see the list of authors. If you remember, in the beginning of the PowerPoint. Maybe I can also, while we're talking, we can look at the PowerPoint quickly. You can actually go to the do a subject search, and then after that, hope I can show you this one. And then you select the right author. Yeah, here's this one. So you can see here, you can search by subject. Here is a neuroscience, for example, and these are the authors. And then you click on the author name, and then within the author name, you can see the details of the author and the topics, even, which is even more detailed than the subject.
Yes, we have another question from Dr. Krishna Kumar. Are the publications by an author, which are listed in the author profiles of other sites like ResearchGate, being linked automatically to the specific author's Scopus or Orchid ID?
No, the publication, doctor, it's only for the journals indexed in Scopus. So we talked about the 28,000 journals right now, and more than 40,000 in total. If the article is published in one of these journals, then it will appear only for Scopus. We are actually very careful about the journals, and we have that content selection advisory board to make sure that we are providing you with high quality journals on.
It seems we have the last questions. How to follow my request using the dashboard?
Okay, maybe we did not have the time to show this. Let me show you this quickly. It's a simple thing. When you log in, when you are logged into Scopus and you send your request, you have the dashboard here. And if you click on dashboard, you would be able to know about all the requests which you have sent. You will have a request ID. Let's say that's an author profile name need to be changed. And this is the date of created. Some of them time out for some reason. Maybe it is already solved from a long time. This is complete. These are in progress. So you have a full view of the requests which you have sent to the support team. That's why accessing the support team from here is the fastest way to get things resolved, because you have two categories. One is to change request in the author or the affiliation name, for example, or profile. Then you contact them by email. And also the content. So if you're missing any article, send it by email, but send the PDF of the article itself, the full text. This will be the fastest way to get things corrected. The second category, which is access and use. So if you have a problem with accessing Scopus, or you want to do something and you don't know how to do it, then you can email, chat, or phone. And of course, chat would be the fastest thing to contact the support team and get an immediate answer.
We have a question. Mr. Wael, one of the participants would like to know if it is possible that you share the PowerPoint with them.
To share what? The PowerPoint.
Yes.
I will share the PowerPoint with Kifes, and then they would kindly, maybe they can share it with the list of attendees.
Okay, great. For anyone would like to have a copy of the PowerPoint, you can send us an email that you can see it posted in the Q&A section. That's our email address. So if you would like to have a copy, please send us an email. Let's see if we have one more question. We have another question. Does Scopus provide a list of predatory journals?
No, we don't do that, because actually it is we work the other way around. We provide you with high quality journals. So if there is a journal actually which has an issue, give us a feedback. So there are three ways of sending the journal to the Content Selection Advisory Board for re-evaluation, for the second time evaluation. One is If the feedback from a researcher, we got a feedback from the researcher, there's a problem with the journal, and give us an example, and then automatically this journal will go to the Content Selection Advisory Board. Second one is we have a software called Radar, which is in the database checking if there is any strange behavior of the journal, number of citations increasing a lot, number of articles per issue increasing a lot, then automatically we'll send it to the Content Selection Advisory Board or the CSAB. The third thing is if we found a matrix, we have 3 metrics for the journal. Not only one, we have 3. If we see that matrix is going down for 2 years, then again, we send it to the Content Selection Advisory Board. So our efforts are depending on providing you with a high quality journal. And by the way, these lists of predatory journals, which is published from some time to time, for example, one of the famous one, which is not published anymore, it's not available anymore, was founded that it's not real and it was for personal interest for some people. So it's better to focus on the high quality journal. And if you have a feedback of any journal, please get in touch with us.
Okay, we have another question. How would you explain the fact that some journals are ranked Q1 in Scopus and are not indexed at all in some other bases? For example, WOS, SSCS, CI.
Sure. Because we have a wider coverage. We have 28,000 journals covered. So, and in Web of Science, I think you mean WAS is Web of Science. They have much less number of journals, so that's the reason. We are trying to provide more journals worldwide. We have one package also, so Scopus is one Scopus. Some other databases, they are consist of different packages, so you can buy the core and then you can buy extra like Chinese index or other indexes, but we have only one Scopus.
Okay, it seems we don't have any more questions. Maybe we'll give you some 5 seconds for the participant if you'd like to post a question. We are checking the chat box and Q&A. It seems we don't have any further questions. Okay, thank you once again, Mr. Wael, for answering all these questions and for the great presentation. It was a pleasure to have you with us. We're inviting everyone to take our survey, where you can find it pinned in the chat box on the top. We value your opinion about this event. Thank you all for attending this event. We hope that this webinar has provided you with valuable insights and information that will help you in your career. And goodbye. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mariam, and thank you for Kifas and for all attendees. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye.